It's really to find that dividing line between where the sponsor or the fund manager leaves off with their responsibilities and then where our team picks up to carry it through the rest of the way.
We create the PPM, right? All of the documents on the front end. And then how do the investors typically engage with that? I know from our situation, we put it onto a portal through the investor platform. I know some of your clients use something like Invest Next, and there's probably a whole bunch of other ones, Juniper Square. So I evaluated a lot of these platforms, and I know that you work with a lot of them. So what can an investor expect as, they hear about something, maybe someone sends them a marketing email, and then they have to get onto one of these websites. Like, how does that process typically work, whether it's, our version of it or someone else's?
Yeah. So at a high level, what you're talking about is investor onboarding. You guys are obviously out there building relationships with investors and talking about your strategy and the business plan behind it. And so when we get to the point where we have an investor who says, I'm interested, I want to learn more, having the system in place, in your case, we're using the Avestor platform, and having that in place allows the team to say, hey, investor, here's a link. You can use this to just quickly set up an account. It's pretty frictionless. And that gives you access to what I call a deal room. Our team, we built out the deal room. And within that, we can find these materials that you were referencing, starting with the offering memorandum and going down from there. To me, that piece of it is important. The build out of this deal room and the materials that we choose to display within it, that's the place where the investor is going to head to take it to the next level. And we're doing this work with full alignment to the marketing materials that the investor saw earlier in the process, and building and layering on top of that.
Yeah. And typically what happens from our side of things, at least, is we're like out there engaging with different potential investors, either at networking events or on LinkedIn or other places, not necessarily pitching deals, but just people that we're encountering who maybe are investors, or they are talking to us about just asking for insights. And we say, hey, we actually do this kind of work, and if you're interested, you can take a look at it, and start to bring them onto the platform. We have a lot of people that we've invited to the platform that never sign up, and so they never even end up seeing that deal room. But we have a lot of investors that very quickly move through the process as well, just depending on what their true level of interest or curiosity is. And once someone gets onto the platform, I know we spent quite a bit of time working through the SOPs from your guys' perspective, and what your level of involvement would be, and type of follow-up, and then what my team is doing as well from the true offering side of things. How do you think about the managers that you're working with and the operational systems that they have in place? And how do you, even from deciding on who you're going to work with, how do you evaluate that type of a setup and the managers that you're deciding to work with?
Yeah, for me, the first step is always to carve out a scope for ourselves. And it's really to find that dividing line between where the sponsor or the fund manager leaves off with their responsibilities, and then where our team picks up to carry it through the rest of the way. So I would say that if you're talking about a large established shop, they're going to have procedures in place as a matter of course, and they tend to. It's far less common for an emerging sponsor to have those same procedures in place. Props to you guys that you went through the effort and took the time to do that early in the fund life cycle. And for us, and it's really helpful to have that in place, because it gives us this clear dividing line so that we're not tripping over each other as we get onboarded. And I actually feel that even in the early going, things ran relatively smooth compared to other experiences we've had.
Yeah.
I think that all speaks to the planning that went into all of it. So I think that's one thing. I think the other thing is that we have developed this great handoff. I'll send props out to Joe on your side and Darcy on our side, and they've put together this pretty smooth, seamless handoff that takes investors from just a prospect to helping them get through the process to onboard pretty painlessly.